Welcome back, you guys. We're coming in for another tip style video here, and today I wanted to go over 7 tips to help you have a smooth ride. And for tip number 1, this one's going to be covering your levers. Now initially I wanted to just say, you know, like cover your clutch or cover your brake, but in all reality it's probably best to just say cover your levers. Now, you probably want to keep one consistently covered just because it helps with, you know, slowing down a little bit faster if needed, or cutting the power to your back wheel, or however way you look at it. I personally try to cover both the front brake and my clutch a lot of the times, but a lot of times you'll find I just cover my clutch because I mainly like to use my rear brake, and then I lead into my front brake, so that way I get a lot of stability. See, like, it just works out for me. But with that being said, I will say covering your front brakes and your clutch here, what this is going to do is improve your reaction time, and it's also going to keep you from just locking the front brakes up per se, because a lot of the issues when we panic brake is we're way out here, or we're completely off of it, and then we just go for a grab. And when we do that, you're gonna have all this space to kind of come down with a clamping force, and what this is going to translate into is to really jerky braking, and that could really screw you up, because if you brake like that, that is how you get your front tire to wash out from underneath you. So I would say if you can keep your brake covered at least the majority of the time, it's really going to help you out. I find myself doing this a lot whenever you're out there on the highways and stuff. If you're going for miles and miles and miles, you know, sometimes you just kind of space out a little bit, or maybe you're just, you know, getting a little used to the ride, and we all think that nothing bad's going to happen 24/7, and the next thing you know it, you know, the guy in front of you slams on his brake because there's a tire in the road, you know, and you just weren't expecting it. And so I'd say cover your levers. It's really going to help with your reaction times, and it's going to help with you properly braking. And honestly, you never know when you're going to need to do both. So for tip number 2, pay attention at intersection, you guys. A lot of the times we're pulling up to a intersection that's turning green. Mainly I'm going to cover 4-ways because these tend to be the most dangerous. Whenever you're coming up to it and you got a green light, take a left and a right look. Make sure there isn't somebody who's just moving egregiously fast and who's going to blow through that stop sign or light, whatever it is. I've seen lots of videos where people just go through the light because it's green. And I'm not saying you need to stop at a green light, but because they didn't actually take the time to actually pay attention, they ended up paying with their lives or their bikes. Well, one of the two, and that really sucks. You guys, you really don't want to be flattened out there. It's just really not going to be good for you or your health, right? So I would say to just pay attention to when you get to those, you know. A lot of the times you probably won't have to worry, but I've had to worry quite a few different times, and so it's something I make sure to add to my list. I've had times where it looked like the person's going to come to a stop and they don't, and they just go ahead and they run it, you know. Maybe it's they didn't think they could brake on time or whatever it is, or maybe they just didn't care. But I've also had people where, you know, it turned green and I seen them coming, and I was like, oh no, you know, like this person's going to blow through the light, and so I wait a second, you know what I mean, and they not actually blow through the light. So I'd say pay attention at the intersections, take extra care with them, right? And for tip number 3, this one's going to revolve intersections too. Get out of the danger zone. You know, as you're passing through that intersection, right, the longer you stay in that intersection, the longer and more of a chance you have of actually having one of those cars come through and hit you. So a lot of the times I try to get out of that intersection as fast as possible. Now, I'm not saying you need to, you know, bust out a wheelie and fly through there, or you need to hit every intersection at 100 miles an hour or anything like that. But honestly, you really should kind of get out of Dodge's way. You know, it pays off, you know, in the long run. I'm sure one day it'll probably help me out. Because, like I said, there's plenty of videos of people getting ran over at the intersections, and maybe if there's a little faster, it wouldn't have been an issue. So, you know, maybe that could really help. I really think that right there is a pretty important one. I really don't like moving real slow through intersections. Sometimes you can't help it. I know when I'm riding with some people, sometimes when we're in a big group, we're all just gonna kind of mosey on through there. But even that doesn't mean that you're completely in the safe just because you're moving in numbers, you guys. So I think it's real important to pay attention at the intersection, and I think it's really important to get out of the intersection as fast as possible, just so you can remove yourself from harm's way, you guys. You know, nobody wants to see somebody get ran over, and quite frankly, I think most people can agree with that statement right there. And for tip number 4, you guys, pack spare glasses. And this one may not seem like it'll matter to you people who wear helmets like I do quite often, because you might have yourself a bunch of visors or something, and this could count for those too. Maybe pack extra visors, but carrying extra glasses has really helped me out, you guys, because sometimes you stay out later than you think. And me personally, I just have a clear visor on my helmet. That's the way I prefer it. If I want something to help protect from the sun, I just wear sunglasses under my helmet. And I have found myself in the position where I have forgotten my helmet, or forgotten my partner's helmet whenever I come to pick her up. And in turns, that means I have to hand my helmet over. Now, I do have glasses on my face, but here's the deal. As I was getting on the highway, the wind sucked the glasses off my face, and I no longer had the glasses. Now, these were just regular sunglasses, and they were not riding glasses, so that's part of the reason why they don't quite fit as well. Sorry, you guys. And because of that, they were loose enough to be dragged off my face. But because there was spare glasses handy, I was able to just pull spare glasses out, put them on my face, and it really helped me out in that situation. Because honestly, I didn't really have much I could do about it. I was probably about 20-minute ride on the highway from my house, and that's on the highway. If I was taking back roads or something, it would have been definitely a little bit longer. And if it wasn't for those backup glasses, you guys, I would have been in a world of uncomfortability, right? Because nobody wants to get hit in the face with a bug at 60, 70 miles an hour. And nobody wants their eyes being completely dried out. And other than that, it's just completely unsafe. You never know what's going to happen or what's really going to come up off that road. I mean, I say bug, but it could be a piece of metal. And that piece of metal could take your eyeball out, and then you're not going to see it all. That eyeball missing while you're driving could be the reason why you wreck. I mean, all kinds of dumb stuff happen out here, you guys. So I would definitely suggest to bring some spare glasses. I have this little pouch up here on my bike, and I use that to carry some spare stuff, and or just keep spare glasses in your backpack. Also, you know, you never know when you are going to have a passenger on back. And if you value your passenger's life, you're going to at least want to put a pair of glasses on their face. 90% of the time, if you're in a helmet and they're not, you should probably just hand over your helmet. I mean, that's just kind of the polite way to do about it if you actually care about the person, you know what I mean? But that's just my personal views on that aspect right there. I'm going to hand over my helmet instead of risking my partner's life. And for tip number 5, this is going to go out there for you newer guys. Avoid group rides if you're new. And this one is going to be a little difficult because you may find yourself starting riding because you have a group of friends who ride. And you're gonna want to get out there and ride with them because, hey, you got the bike so that you could go ride with your buddies, right? And that's darn well what you want to go do. But the issue is your buddies have probably been riding longer than you, and they're probably more comfortable doing crazier stuff than you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're new, they're not. You know, as you get more experience at anything, you're going to test the waters a little bit more. Testing the waters is not for when you're brand new, you guys. I really got to state that, because you don't want to find yourself getting hurt or find yourself riding above your riding level just because you got a couple buddies who are insane, you know, at the very day. Not insane in a bad way, but, you know, they're a little bit crazy and they like to drive a little bit crazy. I know my very first time, whenever I went out on a group ride, it took me about 6 months, not gonna lie. It was hectic. The people weren't riding uniformly whatsoever, and because of that, you had people who almost ran into each other. We even had one guy, he wrecked his bike, not in a bad way, but he was playing around on it. He jammed up his rear brakes in a gravel parking lot and laid the damn thing over. We weren't expecting that. Kind of threw us all off. It was like, oh shit, you know, like next thing you know, the guy's not there no more. So, you know, for somebody who just got into riding, that might not be something you really want to deal with, you know. And you really don't want to be hurting yourself out there. Just because your buddy's moving 60 doesn't mean you have to move 60. I mean, you really do want to ride your own ride when you're out there, and you could kind of say that this tip revolves around that, which is just to ride your own ride. But I would just honestly say avoid the group ride, you guys, just for a little while. Get your bearings, and then go out there and mess around with your friends, you know. You'll have your fun then. And for tip number 6, you guys, that's going to be, don't buy more than you can ride. And this is very easy to do, because if you're actually somewhat like, I don't know, you could call it privileged or just prepared, right? Chances are you might be able to buy something a little more than you can ride. Whether this means buying a dadgum 600cc sport bike or buying a 700-pound bike, right? Ooh, you can tell I need to practice on this direction. You know, you really don't want to buy more than what you can ride, and it's really gonna make a difference, you guys. If you're brand new, you don't want to start on a 600 or a 1000. You probably can, and you probably won't die right off the bat, but why not work your way up and get comfortable with a bigger bike, whether it's faster or heavier? Because in all reality, a heavy bike is more difficult to ride, and a faster bike is more difficult to predict, you guys. And so I would honestly say it will really help you learn a little bit faster to buy something that you can fully manage right off the bat. I did not start on a big Harley like this, and I did not start on a really fast bike, and I avoided doing so that I could properly learn how to ride. And because of that, I've been able to progress, and I almost feel as if being able to progress fluently on each bike has kind of made it to where I've learned a little bit faster than being stuck on one bike that I'm scared of either wrecking and or dropping. And because of that reason right there, I'm not gonna do anything on it to actually learn how to ride any better. I'm just gonna try to survive. And that's really what that's gonna come down to, the most of it. While you're riding a bike that's too much for you, you're gonna feel like you need to survive to ride the bike. And we're not riding to survive, you guys. We're riding to have some fun. So I would really avoid getting too fast of a bike, and I would really avoid getting too heavy of a bike, you guys. Those two things right there are really going to slow you down in your process of learning how to ride a motorcycle properly. And for tip number 7, don't ride or avoid riding in adverse weather conditions. Now, you're gonna actually need to learn how to ride in adverse weather conditions, but This doesn't mean that you have to spend as much time as you possibly can in adverse weather conditions, you guys. If you can tell that it's going to be super rainy today, and it's, you know, you're going to have the potentials of a tornado whipping through, maybe you just shouldn't. Maybe you should just take the car. Might be easier for you, might be safer for you, you know. If it's going to be 120 out and you're not feeling the best, what the heck, maybe you should just go ahead and take the car so you can have AC and not have a dadgum heat stroke or something, you know. It's gonna be difficult for some people to really just stay off the bike, and I understand that. I love my motorcycle. I had to basically stay off it for the past week because I've been working on healing up a new tattoo, and I didn't want to ruin it being out in the wind and the sun, and that absolutely sucked, let me tell you. But honestly, you guys, if it sounds like a better option to take the car, it's better to survive so you can ride another day. If you know, if you're one of those people where you've got that feeling in your chest, you're like, man, I feel like if I get out there on the bike, I'm gonna hurt myself today. Man, just stay off the bike. It's as simple as that sometimes. I mean, I personally ain't a superstitious person like that, and I've had days where I felt like I was gonna get myself in trouble for, say, by riding my motorcycle. But you know what? I went and rode it anyways, and life moves on the same for me. But some people aren't like that, and some people don't want to be like that, and I can't blame you for that. So I would say, if you have any doubt within your mind that you're not going to be able to take on what's going to be on the road today, whether it's that you're not physically up to the challenge or mentally up to the challenge, I would really suggest just avoid riding in those conditions, you guys. Play it safe. Don't be sorry. I mean, living to ride another day is always worth it. Am I right? But that's going to be all for me today, you guys. Those are my tips I have. I hope you guys can apply these, and I hope they help y'all guys out there. Come back for more videos. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing wrong, if there's anything you guys don't like about how I'm delivering these videos. And peace out.